It's all yours, Christine.
Hi, everybody. I'm Christine Dolan with C. Dolan and Associates, which is a daily money management company. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try, and we tried it earlier, and share my screen and just give you a brief overview and presentation to get to know me a little bit and daily money management, etc. And feel free to ask questions as we go along, and we'll have plenty of time for questions at the end. So, I don't know. Okay, here we go. Let's see if I can. Oops. No, I don't know if I can start it from there. Oh, well.
Well, you should. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Okay, now, and hopefully I can just click through. So you guys, I did my introduction. Christine Dolan with C. Dolan and Associates. Financial organizing is another way of saying daily money management. And a little bit about me and my background. I love to travel. My husband is an airline pilot for United Airlines. I have two children, a daughter that swam at Duke University and a son who played lacrosse at Christopher Newport. And in the lower left, probably my favorite picture on the whole screen, below that, my second favorite with my mother and I, is my mother and my daughter and I when we were traveling together. So I love, love, love being around family and traveling. I am the third generation here in Arlington. I was fortunate enough that I grew up in a close-knit family where I was able to have my grandparents as a part of my daily life. And I experienced firsthand what it takes to help people maintain their financial independence and way of life as they grow older, and how to provide them and help them and support them. So I'm a proud third generation in Arlington, as I said, and I love giving back to the community. I love serving as a volunteer and being on a board of directors and helping people out. And went for my master's back when Marymount had one of the first remote programs, because I was still working full time at the time, and got my master's at Marymount, which I loved, right here. Can you tell I'm a proud Arlingtonian? What is a daily money manager? Let's talk about this a little bit. What exactly is that? Daily money managers work with individuals to help them navigate and organize their paperwork so they can restore basically their peace of mind. What exactly does this mean? Restore your peace of mind and help you organize my financial paperwork. Let's talk about the services that are offered. Bill payment and management, helping people automate, sort, and pay your bills, balance bank accounts, upgrade your registers, check for fraudulent charges, coordinate with wealth managers, financial planners, estate planning attorneys, etc. Budgeting and expense tracking, creating systems that you might need to help track monthly income and expenses, monthly, yearly reports, establish and maintaining budgets depending on what you have going on. Another important one is document and tax organization, setting up a system to organize the piles of mail and papers, get them together for the CPA, pay your estimated taxes, and estate and insurance management, organizing the estate assets and documents, medical expense tracking, long-term care claims, and insurance tracking, making sure that those get submitted and that people get reimbursed for that, and to track what's left on their policy and what that means for their overall budget long term, so that you can stay and age in place, ideally, hopefully, at home. And as well as financial record organization. And sometimes there's special projects that come up with people that don't fall in the day-to-day bill paying. They might have something that comes up in the house, a flood, for example. We're talking about there's rain and weather, and they need somebody to help them manage that, to be there when the contractors come, to make sure they get paid, that it's submitted to the insurance company, that they get reimbursed, etc. So that would fall under special projects and other. So those are some of the services that are offered with a daily money manager. What are the typical clients? Seniors, adult children of seniors, people that travel frequently, or for extended periods of time and just need somebody to oversee their accounts. high net worth individuals and individuals with physical and cognitive challenges. And that's across the gamut of, dementia, or maybe they had a fall and they need help. Maybe it was on their right arm and they can no longer write checks and they need help just with writing their checks and overseeing that. I'd call a daily money manager dream team working with all of these individuals. Oftentimes, a daily money manager is confused for a financial advisor. We are a fiduciary, and then you have clients' best interest, financial interest at hand, but we don't advise on what stocks you should get, where you should transfer your money, etc. But we will have a conversation with your financial advisor, with you, if you need to transfer money to pay for bills, etc. Maybe we need to move money into a money market where you get a higher interest rate, etc. Same thing with the CPA. So it's all of a team that we work together with a client, with an individual, to make sure that we can manage their day-to-day everything, finances, paying the bills, overseeing everything that they have going on at home. I have to talk a little bit about the association. What is, we call it ADAM, Daily Money Managers. What the heck is ADAM? ADAM stands for American Association of Daily Money Managers, and it's internationally recognized, and it's an association for just that, daily money managers. It supports our growth. They have all kinds of learning activities for us that we need to take part of, continuing education, resources to continue to have the profession of daily money management move forward and stand out. And one thing that is really great about the association, which I love, is not only the resources that are available to us. We have meetings where we have local meetings with other daily money managers that live in the DMV area. We also have virtual meetings so you can hear across the country what's going on, which is very informative. We have to get background checked every 2 years and adhere to a strict code of ethics and a standards of conduct. And it's pretty strict with that you have to follow along these guidelines. And I love this. I love that there is this accountability for people, so somebody can't, oftentimes I've had people come up and say, oh, my neighbor's helping me do this. And I feel like a little dog, and my ears have gone up, because they might be the greatest person in the world and really, really helpful, but you just want to make sure that everything is above board and that it's, in a above board fashion. We'll just leave it at that. What do Association of Daily Money Manager members be held to being committed to? Well, there's an excellence in service and professionalism. We do have best practices that we discuss all the time. Client confidentiality is really, really big. We don't share any of that information. We might share a story, but you don't know who they are or the details exactly of what's going on in that. And it's really important to have that information in there. We offer peace of mind so that we can manage your financial responsibilities if you don't have the time or expertise. We will advocate for your financial welfare, and we'll take the burden of the sandwich generation of aging parents while their kids are raising their own family. So this is where I was talking about the adult children of senior kids, where a lot of times the children don't live close by the parents. So it's not feasible for them to come over and go through the mail and check on the accounts regularly and see what notices are coming in, because they might be sticking mail in all different places, etc. So basically bringing clarity and order to managing your bills, budgets, and records. So I don't know if you or anyone you know is stressed, overwhelmed, you have bills and mail that never stop. It's a lot to manage. And we can help you navigate and organize that financial paperwork to restore your peace of mind. We have a system where every month we go over certain things. So one month it might be passwords. Where do you keep your passwords? How do you retain your passwords? What do you do with those? The next month it might be going over your financial statements. Where are they? Where's all your information? The next month is state information. Do you have that set up? Where is it? Is it still active? Is it somebody that would be able to be helpful in this situation if you should need them, etc. So each month there's something to go over. There's daily, monthly, and annual money management tasks that we go over to make sure that everything is good. And once you've been through the system, definitely for a year, you're pretty well financially organized and have everything in good order, whatever your preference is for that order. So I just wanted to make sure you had my contact information, which we will have in the chat. My phone number, email, and I'm going to stop sharing. And I want to open this up because this is coffee and conversation, very casual. I want you all to ask questions, and I'm here to answer for you. Did I stop sharing?
Yes.
Okay.
So what would you say is the biggest financial management mistake that you see people making?
The biggest mistake I see them make. I probably would say the biggest mistake I'd see them make is around passwords, not changing them or having all of the passwords exactly the same. So, God forbid, when somebody gets into one account, it's very easy to access other accounts. So, when a daily money manager is checking on somebody weekly, bi-weekly, whatever they have set up with that individual and their family or their power of attorney, you're able to check this and stop it. And actually, last month I had this happen with a client where we went in and we were going to just pay some bills. I wanted to make sure we had enough transferred before we sent out a bunch of payments. And I looked at his account and I was like, what are all these little charges? And they were small, but there was a whole bunch of them. Went and checked all of his other accounts, and he did not have matching passwords. But he's 91 and he can only check it so often. So it was really great that we looked over that immediately and got everything stopped.
Okay. Somebody wanted to know, what's your fee structure?
Everybody's fee structure as far as a daily money manager is slightly different, but it's generally paid by the hour. And usually people will take a deposit when you sign a letter of engagement. That's one thing I did not talk about. One thing that I do and most daily money managers do is we take a letter of engagement, and that is merely saying that you want to engage in our services. It doesn't mean that if we start off meeting once a week, you have to always meet once a week. It doesn't mean we have to always remain a team. It would make my heart sing if we work together for 6 months, 8 months, a year, whatever it may be, and you're comfortable doing it and can move forward from there. It would be wonderful. Maybe we just touch base once a year. So when you sign the letter of engagement, you would also give a deposit check. And we could discuss that and see, if there's a certain amount that you can afford, that you want to spend for this service, etc.
Okay. Next one is this person has a sister with cognitive disability, and she's her sister's representative payee. She said she finds it difficult to navigate all the local, federal, state agencies that she depends on. The red tape is overwhelming. It's hard to know which agency does what. Do you have people that could help her access the benefits she's entitled to? Or would that be one of the other people in that circle of managers that you had on one of your slides?
That's a great question. I'm very sorry to hear about your sister. She's lucky to have you. And it would be a teamwork. It would be people on the slide, on the dream team, where we would work together to make sure that you had the resources that you need to help her be successful and to make sure that no fraud or anything is taking place when it comes to your sister. And it is a lot to navigate. So thank you for helping her and being a partner in her navigation of this, because it's tough.
We've got a comment here that a lot of our members don't really use technology much, if at all. And so it's a lot harder for them paying bills. They're still waiting for, a bill in the mail and mailing out a check, and are unfamiliar with the fact that you can set up auto pay for a lot of these things. So it sounds like that's the sort of thing you could help people with.
I definitely can help people with that. And I also want to say I do have some clients, a number of clients that still prefer to write checks. So we might automate certain things like your household expenses, your power, your electric, stuff like that. But then other things that come in, such as, let's say, myself, or let's say you need a care manager for a couple hours a month, or whatever the case may be, one-off type things like that, that people still prefer to track it with a check because that's what they're used to and comfortable with. So I'm comfortable doing that too, if that's what people have a preference to do. And we'll make sure that it's in your checkbook and that everything is lining up. Nothing. Everything that's coming in comes in. Everything that goes out is indeed something you intended to go out.
So what's the process when you first meet with a potential client?
Oh, great question. I first do a consultation, whether it's over the phone or in person. I like to discuss about what somebody is looking for, what services they're looking for, basically what is the gap, what's going on, and then to go see where the person is. What does it look like? Because sometimes, as we all know, when somebody presents something, it could be very different when you get there in person. So this is where it's just invaluable having that dream team where, if you see something that's going on, you can get somebody in there. Maybe you need to get an organizer in there one time to help get things squared away, to make sure that they're safe in their home and not tripping over certain things, etc. So the first thing would be to have a consultation. And then once you decide to move forward, we would discuss what that looks like. And we would go through the paperwork, pardon me, and sign the letter of engagement, take a deposit, and then set up our next meeting. And that would be the first official meeting when the next meeting takes place.
And you kind of touched on this. I wanted to ask, how often do you meet with clients? It
It,
sounds like a case by case thing.
it is case by case, but I would say on average, especially in the beginning, until I get to know what is going on in somebody's accounts, how often do we need to meet, it's usually weekly or bi-weekly in the beginning. And depending on what it is, I do have one client who I've had for a long time, and she just wants me to help her with her estimated taxes, to get her estimated taxes paid, no problem. And tax time, which we're coming into now, gather all of her information, scan it in, organize it, and get it to her CPA.
Okay. Uh, Somebody is asking if you can recommend a personal accounting app. If there's anything that you particularly like.
There's so many great ones out there that's really personal as far as what you would like. There's so many of these different resources that we have available of places you can go that also have apps, like H&R Block, et cetera, et cetera. So it really is personal. So I would have to have a conversation to see really what you're looking for more there. But I don't have one say, oh, this one's great, stay away from this one. Because to me, the negatives are just as important to avoid a situation that you don't want to get into.
Okay. Healthcare explanations of benefits have not been mentioned so far. How do what's the right way to review and manage those? Who's the right person to help with that?
Well, that is one of the things that I do is I will go over with people their, medical expense tracking and arrange and file and track claims and make sure things that are paid for. And if we need to follow up on them, we can have a conversation together on the phone, or we can designate myself as an authorized person to have that conversation on the phone. So I could call in and ask a question about something getting reimbursed or a question about a claim in that regard. But yes, that is definitely something right along with the insurance, the medical expense tracking. It's very important.
Next question is, what do you charge per hour?
Well, I'm going to leave that open because it kind of depends on what service that you need done and whether you have a conversation with me and are interested in talking with me. It might be slightly different with another daily money manager. And one thing I do want to mention, the reason I brought up, and I didn't mention earlier about the American Association of Daily Money Managers, they're nationwide and are expanding even from that. So if I serve the DMV area, if you have, let's say, a friend, a cousin, a sister, a relative, whatever, on the West Coast, and they need, you think, daily money management services, I am more than happy to have a conversation with you, with that person, and help them find a vetted daily money manager in their area that would be helpful for them. So, and it might be a different cost there. So I don't want to shy people away or, give them the wrong impression of what it might be. But
Are you
please don't
familiar,
hesitate if there's any way I can help, even if it's not in the DMV. I would much rather help and save somebody getting in a bad situation than not be of assistance.
are you familiar with the various senior citizen communities in the area? I
I
know.
think, oh, go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead.
I think I'm familiar with most of them, and I try to advise people. I mean, that's one thing that I love about being on the board of directors of the Arlington Neighborhood Village is hearing what's going on in our community and what's happening. And we hear not only what in the community, but what's around. And I think it's really important to be a part of that and give back with that and to learn about what's out there. Good, the bad, and the ugly, as I say for people.
Yeah, well, I know trying to figure out which one of those places to move into and assess them is a huge task.
Absolutely. And I have a lot of resources and people that we could pull into the team that could help find those places for you. Some cost helping you find the right place to be. Some don't cost. But there's a number of resources out there available to help you find the right place if you decide that you need to move out of your house for whatever reason. I'm in touch with realtors as well that work specifically with seniors, which makes a difference. People that understand and know that are certified in the senior community.
Do you work with a specific financial advisor, or is there anybody that you would recommend?
I definitely have recommendations for financial advisors. I don't work with one specifically that I would say go with this one. I have several that I would recommend. And really, what I try to do is when I first come on, I call it a team together because it's your life, it's your money, and I'm there to assist you and help guide you in this. So you might already have, for example, an estate lawyer, or you might have a financial advisor, or you might have a CPA. So we're going to work with those people that you currently have. I'm not coming in to change anything. But let's say you didn't have one of those resources and you needed it. I have recommendations for you, and it ultimately is your decision who you'd like to go with because what might be right for me might not be the best pick for you. And that's ultimately what it comes down to, making the best decision for you and your family.
Okay, and I think you just answered the next question on the list, which was if other experts are needed, do you make recommendations? So,
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm happy to pass the baton and let you have the conversations with people and do your own due diligence. I'm happy to have the conversations with you to hear it if there's nobody else. Sometimes people are, solo aging and they need that voice there to hear and listen. Whatever it is you're discussing, it might be funeral arrangements. It might be the CPA, it might be the financial advisor, but they want somebody else there to listen that handles the money piece of it with them.
Are you licensed and bonded, or are there other certifications that help make sure that clients are, safe and being supported properly?
Well, basically, yes. This is answering. Am I insured? Yes, I am. I am insured, and I'm happy to give a copy of the insurance policy to anybody. And most people that are solopreneurs aren't bonded because you're not going. If you don't have direct employees, you're not going to steal from yourself. Insurance companies won't even take on bonding for that regard, but that it is very important to find out, and to be a part of the American Association of Daily Money Managers you do have to be insured with the proper insurance. It's another
And
reason
about
to be part of it.
licensing or other professional credentials?
There are not right now professional credentials that you have to be a daily money manager. That's why I can't stress enough on, if you are finding somebody in another area, that they're a member of the Association of Daily Money Managers, because that does have strict policies and ethics and code of conducts. There's a background check that you have to go through every 2 years before you can even renew your membership. So there's a number of items there that are very, very important to be a part of. But as of right now, not like a financial planner where you have to go through certain credentials to be qualified to do it. But just trust your gut, look in the background, and again, please don't hesitate to reach out at any time if you have a question about somebody that you're considering working with. I would be more than happy to go over that with you and make sure that you're stepping into the right team.
How many people in your office are servicing clients?
Well, I'm a solopreneur, so it's me and I work with a team. And so it's various teams that I will work with for each client. So it's just me right now. I don't want to When I take on a client, for me, it is an extension of my family. I think about these people all the time, even when I don't mean to. It pops up in my subconscious, and how can I better serve them? What can I do to help them more? And I like being boutique in that sense, where if something comes up, such as a flood, I'm there able to help them and manage everything. It's a very trusted, private relationship. You do become a part of the family. There are daily money manager companies out there that are very large, and they want to come in and just do just the bill pay, and that's okay. It's just a different way. So it depends on what is the best fit and what you're looking for, what your needs are.
Are your services limited to Virginia?
They are not. I go all over the DMV, Maryland and DC, as well as Virginia.
Okay. Next question is, there a difference between online bill pay where you initiate the transaction and where the business wants direct access to your bank account, like Verizon as the example?
Technically, as far as paying the bill, I think that's what the question is. There a different if you, as the individual, paid that bill, or if we did it ourselves as the company? And there is technically not a difference with paying that bill. I do have an authorization to access accounts form and an authorization to disclose information form when I sign on a client. So if we get to the point where you want me to check certain accounts when I'm not with you, then I would get your authorization to access those accounts. You would put on there if there's any limitations. It might be Verizon, it might be PNC, et cetera. And then you would sign it and date it. And you can always change that at any time. You can cross it off, you can add to it. And the same for disclosing information. Let's say you didn't want me to be a part of the conversation with your financial advisor at this point in time. That's perfectly fine. But at some point, if you did want to, we would put that on the disclosure um, sheet, their name, what I can discuss with them, and then you would sign it. You can add family to that, and you can take them off at any point too. So it's not bound, it's just giving me permission. Otherwise, I won't say anything other than, yes, I work with them. They
Yeah,
won't get any information. Client confidentiality is very, very high with me.
I think what they were trying to get at with their question was the difference between Verizon sends me a bill and I go online and I pay it versus setting up auto pay where I've given them access to my bank account.
It's just a different way of paying. It doesn't make any difference as far as it's personal preference on what you're comfortable setting up. You can go in and pay it each time, or you can have auto pay where it automatically is set up in there and you don't have to worry about it because it's pulling out of your bank each time. Certain companies, it's will only take from your bank, and some people aren't comfortable with that. Some people prefer to set up auto pay on a credit card. Some people aren't comfortable with that. So it really just depends on what your comfort level is and what you would like to set up. You know, are you going to be traveling for 4 months and you want to make sure that this is taken care of? Then we would look at what avenues there we could take care of to make sure that that's managed while you're gone.
Okay, next question is how many clients do you currently have? And are any of them willing to provide a reference for your business?
Yes, well, currently, right now, I have 11, and I'm sure they would be happy to. They have sent out testimonials out there. My clients, I will say, are very private, and I like it that way because it is very personal. So I don't put any names or numbers. I don't have a sheet of references out there because I guard their personal information. Some of them are pretty high up retired people, and I keep it private. But yes, I would be happy to provide a reference and have you talk with some people if you would like to before engaging in services.
Okay. And Cheryl's put in a note here that Aging Matters has also featured people who help older adults and their families identify best places to live. And she's happy to share that with anybody. So you can get her contact info in the chat.
Yes, and just as a side, if anybody has relatives or friends that are working with a care manager, not the caregivers, but the care managers, the ones that go on appointments with people to the doctors, etc., they generally will help you find a place to move if you need to, whether it's respite after surgery or whether you need to go to an independent living, whatever the case may be. Those are the people that will charge. There are other companies out there that don't charge that Cheryl, can pass along as well, that can help you find the right place in there, whatever the situation may be. And I go in a lot of times to assisted living and independent living because that's where some of my clients live. Most of them live at home, but some of them do live independent and assisted living. And, I've seen a number of things. So there's places that I would think to put my mom, and there's places that I would not want to put my mom.
Right.
You mentioned background checks a couple of times. Who reviews those checks and what criteria are applied?
Oh, well, they have a company that does a background, the association has a company that does a background check on us. So they engage them to do it's everything, your driving record, your credit history, the whole gamut. It's not the same as a top secret clearance. I had that years ago when I was working the Joint Chiefs of Staff, but they run the full gamut, and you cannot renew your membership with the association unless the background check has come back cleared. So that's really great.
And we've got a comment here that it can get a bit overwhelming regarding estate planners, CPAs, investment advisors, etc. So I think we can all sympathize with that.
Yes, it can. It
And
can.
we've got a couple of people still curious about what it costs. Would you be willing to share just kind of a ballpark range,
A
low end?
ballpark range for the area is I think they're, yeah, 125 to 175 an hour. I
Mhm.
don't think I do think one large company might be above that right now, but I don't know that for a fact.
Okay. Another comment, someone who does auto pay on just about everything, including credit cards, said they send plenty of notices of, what's going to be withdrawn and when. And so far, they haven't had any problems with it. So,
Good. That's great. Keep watching your statements. I mean, that's one thing I even tell, my friends, watch your statements. If you need to print them out, look at them. Those charges, a lot of times people will dismiss charges that are, 299. Oh, I don't know. I don't remember doing that. Just whatever, let it go. But these fraudsters, it's a multi-billion-dollar business. They are professionals at this, taking advantage of people. And once they get into your account, they run. So if you see even just something small and you're not sure of it, check on it. Check on it. Call and check on it. Change your passwords, whatever it takes to stop them immediately.
so what kinds of things do you see working with clients in assisted living that concern you?
Um, well, these days, it's a lot. Oftentimes, the care is the main thing that I look for in there. How well are they cared for? Do they actually care about the person? When the person is hurting, how are they treated? Are they responsive? Do they take care of it? Do they make sure that they can get to the doctor or get what's needed? Or are they laying there hurting for a while with not much care or care that's not responsive? I've had a number of clients that have had to hire um, their own private caregivers because they feel better at having a caregiver on site with them in their room all the time. And it just kind of wrecks me from a financial standpoint of how much that costs. It's just ghastly in the United States what it costs. So and some are very high end places and some not so much. So it really just depends. And that's another thing, whether it would be a daily money manager popping in, if it's your friend, whoever it is, go see them, pop in on them. Don't let the place know when you're coming. You can let your friend know or your family know when you're coming, but don't let the staff know when you're coming, and show up different times of the week. So if I have somebody that's in assisted living or independent living, I generally will go a different day, a different time each week that I'm visiting with them because I just want to see how they're cared for.
Okay, I don't see any additional questions right now. If anybody's got anything else you want to ask about or comment on, now's the time.
Christine, I was just going to ask you, just in this area, is being a daily money manager, is this kind of a recent phenomena because more adults are getting older and, are there a lot in this area? Not only, obviously you're in Northern Virginia, but all over. Is it a very competitive kind of activity for older adults? What do you see?
Oh, that's a great question. Thank you for asking it. It's interesting. As I had mentioned, I grew up with my grandparents here in Arlington, and I'm sure I didn't appreciate it as a young kid, but we would go over to their house, every week, sometimes several times a week, help them with groceries, help them with their bills, etc. And so my grandmother at one point had employed somebody to help her write her checks. And I thought, what is she doing? We were doing that. And she got somebody on the outside, which was probably smart. And so it's been around a long time. The association hasn't been around. It's relatively new. I can't remember how long. I want to say 20 years, not that long, but I've been doing this for 20 plus years. And it was right before COVID when I established the LLC. So I would just go in as an independent contractor and help people with this because I feel so passionately about making a difference in people's lives and making sure that everything is copacetic, shall we say, that everything is good, everything's paid, everything is taken care of, and that they're safe. And if there's any other way that I can assist them, then I definitely will. So it is interesting. It's been around a long time, but the profession of it is relatively new. And that's why I'm sure down the road, it's going to expand greatly. And yes, there are several other daily money managers in the DMV area. Everybody's, different, a little different, and has their different specific areas of what they focus on. But it's a very friendly, I wouldn't say it's competitive because all of us, and I would hope to think this, if not, I hope somebody reports somebody to the association, that everybody cares and wants to make a difference in these people's lives. So it's very friendly amongst each other. We love working together and helping each other out. And we have all of these meetings where it's local and virtual, where you hear across the country, not just in the area, about what's going on and sharing and asking, hey, have you ever come across this? How do you manage that? What did you find that worked best? Is there anybody we should avoid? Is there somebody we should, look into, etc.? So it's a wonderful, wonderful resource.
So if somebody wants to become a daily money manager, what do they do? How do you get started?
I would start out with the Association of Daily Money Managers because we're offering courses on basics on how to get started and what to do and what's out there. So there's the resources that they offer are absolutely phenomenal, as well as other daily money managers such as myself in the area that want to see people succeed, that want to see people helping other people. Like I had mentioned early on about the neighbor, that could be a great situation or it could be really ugly, really bad. So you just want to make sure that they're protected.
Christine, another thing I was going to ask you is that in the event that you're working with a particular client and you begin to see that something is amiss, maybe their adult relative has been doing something when you weren't around, and it may be even illegal or something that's bad. How do you get involved? What's the process? Do you get in touch with the authorities about this, that somebody's getting ripped off, or how do you handle that?
That's an excellent question. And me as an individual, I can't just stand by. So I'm going to put my feet down immediately with the person. It all depends on the situation as far as who to get involved with. They might have a power of attorney, that they have assigned that you can contact and get in touch with and change things and make a stop to it right there. If there is no family and there is no care manager and I'm the sole person, you might have, and there is no POA, there's nothing to turn to, then you turn to Adult Protective Services. And on my end, I'm changing everything immediately. I'll cancel my appointments that afternoon, the next day, whatever I need to stop it immediately right then. So change accounts, whatever it is, change passwords, change everything so that they can't have access to it. Because it does happen. People do take advantage and it's awful. And you'll see it oftentimes too with, for example, it might be a cleaning lady that they've had for 25 years and they love this cleaning lady. She's been with them 25 years. The husband's doing the lawn, right? But they're charging too much for what they're doing and what they're coming in to do and taking advantage. And so I'm not going to sit there with a shy eye on that. I will discuss it with the client of mine that, I think this is too high and here's why. And if it's up to you to make, if you want to change anything, if you don't want to change anything, but I'm not going to not say something.
And looking at it on the other side is if somebody decides that they want to engage the services of a daily money manager and it's not working out, it's a bad fit. What happens then? Can you just, and especially if you've signed a contract, can you break the contract? What would be the options of either the older adult himself or herself or the family? What do they need to know?
Absolutely. Great question. Well, I can speak for myself in this sense that I have the letter of engagement. And so it's just a matter of 30 days notice, but it's really a communication between me and the client of, for whatever reason, let's say they're running out of money and I see it. You need your money. I want to continue to help you. I can do some of this pro bono, but you need your money to live, not to be paying for my services, even if they need it. So, and then I can even reach out and see if other people are willing to be pro bono. So there is no breaking a contract with me in that sense. Other daily money managers might have a more strict, you can't break it, or it has to be this. You have to stay with me for a year. That's not how I operate because I want it to be beneficial predominantly to the client, because if it's beneficial to them, then it's beneficial to me. And I generally won't take somebody on, as people say, if your spidey senses are telling you this is not a good match, this is not good, and I will put it out to my local group for the Association of Daily Money Managers for somebody else. They can call me. I can discuss what the client's about, what they're looking for, and find a match for them. Because
And
it is important for them to have that.
have you had issues sometimes where maybe an older adult wants a daily manager and the family says no, so there's a difference of opinion in terms of whether a daily money manager is needed or not needed?
Yes, there's definitely been cases where it's a difference of opinion, but generally speaking, it's usually the adult children that want it and the senior saying, I can still do this, even though things are sliding, taxes are late, they haven't paid them in a couple of years, or their estimated payments haven't been paid. It's 99% of the time the adult child that wants it before the senior does. And I love full transparency, and hopefully all daily money managers do too. So if there's a power of attorney, if there's a family member or somebody else, I like to send wrap up emails afterwards just about what we covered. So if they're starting to slide, heck, sometimes I'll have my glasses on my head. So where are my glasses? Oh, they're on your head, Christine. Okay, great. So it's nice to look at that email and see, oh, right. Yeah, that's right. Okay, we covered that last time. And I like to copy the power of attorney or a close family member, even if they live in Seattle, so they know what's going on with mom and or dad. What are we covering? What's taking place? And they can contact me anytime with any questions. And I'm happy to help them. They might have concerns that need to be brought up, that need to be looked into.
To follow up on Cheryl's earlier question about what happens when if it's a bad fit, have you ever had to fire one of your clients? Because
only once, and I think everybody can relate to this. It was very early on when I was doing it and doing daily money management, and I was excited to help this person, and she wanted everything for nothing and kept, more, 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 and hadn't signed the disclosure about me talking with her CPA, but she wanted me to talk with the CPA. She wanted me to get things done. So it just was not a good fit. So I let her know very early, this is not a good match. I'm so sorry, and I'm happy to put it out, to the other people in the association and see if there's a match for you. I don't know why her sons didn't step up, but that often happens. Often happens where family sometimes are the duds, unfortunately. That's where I come in, the daughter that they didn't have locally.
Okay, any other questions, Gary?
I don't see any.
If you
Anything,
ever have questions or you're wondering, or if there's any way that I can be of assistance, you just want to have a conversation, whether it's about my services specifically or any other way that I can help somebody, or you're wondering about somebody in the community or somebody that I can possibly help with or give you some advice to help with them, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to help however I can. I love our community and I want to continue to make it be the best place to be.
Okay, well, we are just about out of time. It's 10:56, so we've got a little wiggle room here, but definitely want to thank Christine Dolan, who was talking about money management today. This was very helpful, and you provided a lot of information. And if you want to learn more, the link is on the chat. And and thank you, Christine, for your offer to just provide some information if necessary.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you for having me on today. I hope everybody got some more insight into what a daily money manager does and how they might be helpful in their life or somebody else's life.
Exactly. Something to think about.
Something
So next week, our guest, we're going to talk about mental health and aging. And our guest is Sydney Palinkas. She is a dementia, and it is a she, dementia education and outreach coordinator with the RAFT program, which is part of the Area Agency on Aging. And RAFT stands for Regional Older Adult Facilities Mental Health Support Team. That's quite a mouthful, but she's going to talk about mental health challenges and some of the issues that often families have to deal with in connection with mental health issues for their loved ones. So I think that should be a very interesting program. So Liz, did you want to say anything more about that? Or I think that might be enough information.
I think you did it great. Thank you.
Okay. Well, then tune in next week at 10 o'clock. And meantime, have a good week. And thanks for joining Arlington Neighborhood Villages Coffee and Conversation. Have a good week.
Thank you.